graduate of the University of Birmingham. That is a red brick uni, you know.
Yeah.
For those of you that don't know, that's a top uni. I think it's the top one in Birmingham, isn't it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you would say that.
I'm proud to say that. Yes, I am.
Okay, it's a very.
I worked hard to get that uni.
And it's not often that you see many people of Afro-Caribbean descent that have come from University of Birmingham. Is that right?
It's fair to say. It's fair to say, yeah.
Okay, and Funmi is an up-and-coming, aspiring broadcaster and journalist. So I'm gonna give her a bit of a grilling. As we're at African Caribbean community station, for all types of people listening, so I'm gonna first talk about your university life. Now, you as a university student, how did you find it coming to, say, because you're from London, how did you find it coming to Birmingham? Did you see it as this is countryside or whatever, or was it not that different from London?
Well, to be honest, it was kind of like easy, but at the same time hard, because obviously I've lived in London all my life, but then I went to sixth form boarding school.
Boarding school, yeah?
Boarding school. Countryside, Hertfordshire.
Wow.
Horizon, not a house in sight. Just cows and sheep. So I went from one extreme to the other. So coming into Birmingham was kind of like a compromise, so to speak.
Okay.
Where it wasn't London, but it wasn't countryside either.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so it was easy, but at the same time hard. Anytime when you leave home, it's always hard. So, but yeah, it was good. It was good.
Okay, and what would you say for some people who may be wanting to go to uni for the future, or even parents who've got kids who might be going into uni and they want to kind of get an idea of what uni's like now, what experiences could you give them, say, money experiences, social life, things like that? What words of wisdom could you give out to the listeners?
I think words of wisdom would be definitely that old cliche that says work hard, play hard. Yeah. Definitely. That's something you're definitely going to have to stick to, especially in a city like Birmingham, where it's city life, so you have raves and parties and any kind of social events. So it's very easy to be distracted and taken away from your studies, the reason why you came to the city. So I think it's kind of like you really need to study hard, but at the same time you also need to relax and chill. So definitely 50-50 balance, nothing swaying either way, I would say. Definitely. Do you think that the whole Raven sign, as I partially did contribute to that, your experience, but the whole Raven event side, do you think that's a big distraction from your work? I think, or is it easy to balance? It depends on the person. It really depends on the person, because some people are more prone to temptation and some people are not. So I think it just depends on each individual. If you're someone who does like to rave it up and does like to, you know, have fun, then obviously you're going to be tempted by living in the city, you know, compared to maybe living in a campus in the countryside, so to speak. Yeah. But then I think that if you're someone who is, you know, always working hard and you're not really tempted by those kind of things, it's not going to be too much of a temptation. It just depends on the person. That's how I think. For me personally, I do like to have fun, but I feel that the time I had in boarding school really put into perspective why I'm coming to university and why I'm coming to Birmingham. So maybe before boarding school, definitely would have been mad temptation. But then I think boarding school kind of grounded me and you know, showed me that this is serious. You're paying 30k, you better get it right. Something, so you would have come home to a couple of slaps. Absolutely. Absolutely. But one thing as well, you're a recent graduate. One thing I've noticed, a lot of graduates these days are finding it hard. Like, say they've graduated from uni, then they find themselves working in a job that they were doing part-time, full-time. And what happened with your experiences? How did you get into journalism? Like, you're doing things like, such as London 360 and other things. What happened with you? Well, basically, I came into journalism. I came into journalism during uni. Like, I've always wanted to kind of be a journalist from the time I was younger, but I didn't really start exploring it until I came to uni, where I started writing with a student paper. Yeah. And then after I graduated in 2010, I just realised that, wow, this is a serious, not only is it a serious industry to enter, but every industry in the UK is shrinking, so entry-level positions are scarce. So I then knew that, okay, I'm going to have to intern, intern. So that's exactly what I did. I interned for anyone and everyone. That's exactly what I did. Trying to make a name for myself. Still trying to make a name for myself. So I think that's the best advice I can give anyone, just to really do as much experience. I mean, it's very cliche. People always say do experience, but it's true. Because the experience, not only does it give you a name on your CV, but it also gives you skills that, you know, you might not have been able to pick up in a classroom, so to speak. I did go to journalism school. I did at NCTJ for 20 weeks, and it was kind of like a stepping stone, but I do feel that definitely experience outweighed any form of classroom teaching, in my opinion anyway. So that's what I've been doing.
Wow. I'm quite impressed. I'm impressed. But would you like to talk about more of your work with London 360, the programme? And I forgot which channel it's on, but would you like to give a brief rundown of what that show's about and what you do on there? Kind of thing? So
basically, London 360 is a news magazine show which is based in London, and it kind of covers London stories and London's communities, kind of grassroots stories, and it's on the community channel.
Okay.
It appears on Mondays, Thursdays and Sundays, and basically we cover all kinds of stories. So stories from looking at the gypsy community, looking at the African Caribbean community, looking at the gay community, looking at religious communities, just trying to get stories that are fresh and new, away from the news agenda that you see on maybe ITV or BBC or Sky News. Okay. And so at the moment the team are kind of expanding, so to speak, and they're doing a new show called UK 360, where they're expanding it to different parts of the UK, where they're asking people who are involved in news and people who are involved in filmmaking to bring their stories to the table.
Wow. And
then bring it to UK 360. So for example, people in Birmingham can send in their stories and their filmmaking. Wow. So if you want to get involved, I would say go to Community Channel website. Just type in Community Channel in Google and you'll see it.
Okay, that's an exclusive from Funmi. Okay. So you can get involved in, was it UK 360?
UK 360.
By going to the Community Channel website, and make sure, if you get through and you get a shout, make sure you shout out the Drive Time Show on New Start Radio. That's it. And I want my little guest spot on there, like a little document. No, I'm joking. But anyway, would you, as an end to this wonderful interview, would you like to give some words of wisdom to people, as you've said with university, with say getting into the journalism career path, because we have a lot of people that may want to get into that field. Do you have any words of wisdom or avenues they can use to get in there?
My words of wisdom would be to just be very tenacious. Don't give up, because this is a very tough industry, and I'm still experiencing, you know, that kind of side to the industry. So just never give up, be very tenacious, and be friends with everyone, be cool to everyone, learn as much as you can, seek as much knowledge, just keep going, don't give up. That's all I can say, just don't give up, because I think that's one of the main things that people need to remember, not to give up. So
definitely.
But yeah, you can do it if you really want it. So
that's a song, isn't it?
Really?
You can
oh my gosh.
Really.
Oh yeah, I didn't mean to plug that, by the way, but yeah, but it's true.
That'd be good if I had that in the bag of the speech. That was Funmi, giving you her experiences as a university student and an upcoming journalist and broadcaster.
And you should follow me on Twitter.
Okay, I'll put out your Twitter as well.
My Twitter, I'll spell it for you because it's so long. It's at Funmi Olutoye.
Wow.
Which is at FUNMIOLUTOYE.